Hey Tommy, can you believe that we've had our Tesla for 15,000 miles in almost a year now?
Yeah, and we've driven it across country twice. We've lived with it, we've driven it in the snow, and in this video, we're going over the loves and the hates in the Tesla Model 3.
Yeah, so let's take turns.
Yeah, for sure. Now, this is a 2023. We bought it with our own hard-earned money. It was a performance trim. And Dad, let's start with something you love and something you dislike.
Yeah, so what I love about this car, and this is kind of a goofy thing, but actually it's really cool. I love the fact that it has a frunk, because most cars that it competes with actually don't have a frunk, or at least a usable one. So this guy has a lot of room in the front, and when I cross-country this, actually drove from Florida all the way to Colorado, this is where my luggage lived, and it was very happy there.
Yeah, compared to like some of the Polestar products, it's bigger, it's more useful, it's just a great front trunk.
All right, and what do you like?
Well, one thing I am really impressed with, you gotta say it right off the bat, the supercharger network is awesome. We've driven this car thousands of miles on road trips. You never need to think about it. You plug in your destination into the nav, it takes you where you need to go, and then it tells you how long you need to be there. That is just unbeatable.
All right, now I'm gonna go with what I don't like, and let's talk about styling. It looks a little bit like a stoned fish. And problematically, even more so, is that there are a lot of stoned fish in Boulder, so like you see one everywhere you go, and it's becoming kind of the Uber of electric cars, and that makes it feel less special, and I don't like that, Tommy.
Well, and I have to say, Dad, not to stereotype here, but all of the Prius drivers that were clogging up the left lanes here in Colorado went out and bought Model 3s. And now all the Model 3s are out there clogging up left lanes or accelerating way too fast when they mess up the brake and the gas pedal, accelerator pedal.
All right, so what don't you like?
The range, Dad. So this car is rated at over 300 miles EPA, but we have not seen anywhere near that on our road trip between charging stops. Granted, we weren't going all the way full to all the way empty, but we were like 180, 190. If you want to push it far, you might be able to get like 250 real world, especially as it gets colder. The range is just not as advertised. How ya doing back there, Dad? Are you kind of like a sardine?
Yeah, not great. That's another thing I'm not in love with this car. If you want room, obviously get the Model Y.
Sorry.
Oh, Jesus.
Sorry.
I just went into that automatic mode where it basically adjusted itself and crushed my toes. But look, no headroom, Tommy, no legroom to speak of, and actually not much visibility even though the roof is glass. I just feel like I'm really squished back here. I know it's not supposed to be Model S, but still, it's very tight back here, and it's almost like a penalty box. Now, there is something I do love about the back seat. You know what that is?
What's that, Dad?
It's heated.
That's fantastic.
But there's something I hate about that.
What's that?
I can't control it.
Oh, man.
You have to do it in the screen.
That's true. Now, Dad, let's talk about the screen, because this is absolutely something I love. The Tesla UI is fantastic. Super easy to use, easily accessible. Everything is right where you'd expect it to be, and it's really fast and responsive. It doesn't have Apple CarPlay, but it really doesn't need it.
Yeah, I feel that's true. You know what I hate about that, though?
What?
There's no screen in front of you. I kind of wish there was just a little tiny screen in the front there, so giving me the vital information like speed, perhaps speed limit, and perhaps, turn signals, the stuff that you use the most.
Now, Dad, what's something else you like about this Model 3?
What else do I like about it? Well, why don't we show my favorite thing, which is, this is the Model 3 Performance, and so it is quick.
Yes, this car is so fun to drive. It's probably one of the most fun I've ever had in a new car. Not only in terms of acceleration, but the steering is great. The chassis dynamics are finally really good. The ride's a little firm, but it's so fun to toss around the road. And of course, when you line up at a stoplight and you give it the full accelerator.
Oh! That never gets old. Actually, that's not true. It does get old, especially if you're a passenger. You just slammed my head into the back of the headrest, Tommy, and it was not much fun.
Well, if you want a terrible experience, have my mom drive this car, and it's just like, it's really unpleasant. You have to go into the chill acceleration mode. But Dad, you're right, the driving experience in this car is such a pleasure. It really is a fun car to drive.
I would say it's probably one of the most driver-centric electric cars you could buy. There are others that are now coming up to this level, maybe the EV6.
Sure. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, maybe the Ioniq
5N.
5N.
Yep.
But for the most part, this still sets the standard. If you're not talking about like the Plaid, right? These are cars that are much more expensive.
All right, I'm going to something I dislike, Dad. So Tesla is really well known for its level 2 driver assistance programs, be it autopilot, full self-driving, right? This car, we have the autopilot, just a standard autopilot on, so it gives you lane centering, adaptive cruise control. It's still hands-on, but it will, let you in theory takes a lot of the work out of the driving. But there's so many issues with phantom braking in this car, and what that means is you're on cruise control and then the car randomly slams at the brakes or does weird things that it's not supposed to. It's really not a good feeling. This car is a vision only system where it uses cameras to judge distance. It gets confused by various lighting situations. It's just not very good, Dad.
All right, I'm going to give something controversial. As you know, we cannonballed this car from Disney to Disney.
Yep.
So we drove it 2,500 miles without stopping. And look, I know the standard for charging is the Tesla network, because the CCS network is hit and miss. And I'm being kind when I say that.
100%.
But I'm going to say something I think most people find or will find controversial, and that is I'm not even impressed with the Tesla charging network because, Tommy, none of them have roofs. Some of them are in locations where, if you're driving during the day, it might be in a shopping mall, but if you're there at night like I was, it's pretty spooky. I just think we're so far behind what could potentially be a very pleasant cross-country road trip driving experience, even using the Tesla chargers. I remember I charged once in an industrial park in St. Louis where I had to go to an indoor dog park and beg them to let me use their bathroom, which they wouldn't do without me signing a consent form that if I got bit by a dog, I wouldn't sue them. I mean, this is not what I expect, from cross-country tripping. So yeah, even the Tesla charging network, to me, is the minimum of what you want to at least start to compete with what you could do with a gas station on every corner.
Look, it integrates so beautifully into the screen, right? You've got how many stalls are available, what's the kW max, the kilowatt max. It's got on-route preconditioning, so it does a lot of stuff really, really well.
And let me ask you this. I don't care about any of that stuff if I'm driving an internal combustion engine.
Yeah, that's true, Dad.
Don't care about any of it. Doesn't even come into my imagination.
How about this?
Yeah.
This is, I think, something we both agree on. Being able to charge this car at home on level 2 for 95% of our ownership experience.
Brilliant.
Fantastic.
Brilliant.
It's been awesome.
I love that. We have a level 2 charger. It charges like a dream. Easy peasy. If you're driving it in town, you feel like you've got a very quick, very responsive, and a car where you never have to go to the gas station. It flips exactly the opposite way in town.
And you gotta love this, Dad. 15,468 miles. It's never needed to go in for service. Nothing is broken. No oil to change. It's been a really easy car to live with from a service standpoint. So it's been very, very well put together over our ownership.
There's that saying, never buy the first year of production of any car.
Yep.
And this was probably the last year or close to the last year of production. And let's go outside and tell them what we're going to do with this car. All right, Tommy. So, on the TFL scale of buy it, lease it, rent it, or forget it, after living with the car, after driving it across country, after, spending a lot of hours sitting behind the wheel, what do you say?
Well, I love this car. One of my favorite cars we've ever owned, and it would be a buy it 100%, except for the fact we did buy this one, and then Elon wakes up one day, blows his nose, and decides, we'll make the car $5K cheaper, or we'll make the car $7K cheaper, and we're going to take an absolute bath on this car because we paid like $53, and it's worth nowhere near $53 with some of the more recent price drops. So for me, it's got to be a lease it. If you can get a good lease deal on it, maybe get some of the federal tax credit on a lease deal, that's the way to do it.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, because every time Tesla drops the price, it just really ruins my day, because I just see money evaporating like that. And I said, and I promised that we're going to tell you guys what we're going to do with it. So what are we going to do with it?
Well, we're going to trade it in on another vehicle here shortly.
A Cybertruck, if all goes well.
Yeah, because nobody really is watching these videos anymore because the car is old and people are interested in something new. Maybe we're going to get the new Highland when that shows up here, but we don't know when that is.
We're going to get the Cybertruck.
Okay, we're getting the Cybertruck.
I don't want to do Highland. I'm done with the Model 3. That's the other thing, all right? Besides Elon, what I hate about this car is that it no longer feels special. And that it's not Tesla's fault. It's just that they've been too successful, especially here in Boulder. You see them everywhere. And, you get into a car, you want to feel like there's something special about the drive, like you're one of the only ones in town, or like, you know, you've got some magic toy that somebody else doesn't have. At least that's the way I like to feel. We just had the Bentayga, we just did a review of that. And, you know, that makes you feel that way. Of course, you're going to pay $300,000 for that, but still, it's just become too successful and too common. And so definitely lease it and come back hopefully next time. Well, we don't know how long it's going to take, but we want to trade it in on a Cybertruck.
And if you want to rob the Whole Foods in Boulder, you know your getaway car. We'll see you guys on the next video.